Hello, fellow YouTubers. Lego EWC Stop Motioner here. Welcome to viewers new and old. And today I am finally taking a look at Transformers Generations Deluxe Class Drift. I got this figure back in 2021, and I've been waiting to review him because when I got him, he was missing his katana. And I didn't find the katana on eBay, but if some of you, to anyone who saw my collection video from, was it March, I think, this year, I got a 3D printer. And someone made the file for Drift Sword, and I'll be sure to put a link in the description for that. So I was able to print his katana and went ahead and painted it, so now this figure is basically complete. And I actually said I'd review this figure a while ago, and I had a few versions I filmed. I filmed one version of this review, the full version. I wasn't very happy with how it turned out. Then I filmed another one, and in the process of filming it, the sword broke, so I had to fix that, and then I just kind of never got back to it. But I'm back to it now, so happy to finally be reviewing this figure. So anyway, taking a look at the vehicle mode. It's a really nice vehicle mode. Taillights are painted. That was much more common back in the ancient days of 2010. He has translucent headlights. I can't remember if that's Japanese or Cybertronian on the doors. I forget. He has pinned on wheels. The rolling on them is decent, and he rolls pretty well for the most part. You'd think the sword would create a lot of drag, but it really doesn't that much, and it tucks away pretty well. It has my ideal weapon storage, just in general, the weapons on this figure, where you don't need them for the vehicle mode, but they tuck away easily and they don't really stick out that much. So I really like that. In general, I just think this is a really cool looking car mode. The only thing I really don't care for is that some of the windows are translucent plastic, then the ones on the back are just painted. That bugs me. It doesn't look consistent. I'd rather they just all be a regular solid plastic. But that's really about it. Otherwise, I think it's just a really nice looking car. I like the spoiler on it. The paint details in general, I think look nice. Now some of the paint has rubbed off because this is a 15-year-old figure. But in general, it still looks really nice. For some comparisons, here he is with the Siege Red Alert. I just wanted to compare him to a modern Deluxe. I know this figure came out 6 years ago at this point, but I still feel he fits the modern style of Generations figures in terms of scaling and everything, so I thought this would be a good comparison. Yeah, Drift is definitely a bigger car for him. So I'd say that pretty much covers it for the vehicle mode. Now we can move on to the transformation. And this figure has a really neat transformation. So to start off, going to go ahead and just free the sword up and pull this section out. Now, I'm just going to go ahead and remove the sword just because I don't want to break it, but it is possible if you have the original sword for this figure, and if you 3D print it as one solid piece, and it's not super fragile, it is possible to transform this figure without removing the katana. I just wanted to mention that, but for the sake of the sword that I'm using, I'm going to remove it and set it off to the side. First off, get thumbs under the doors, or just fingers in general. Just fold them out. And then I go ahead and fold the handles out, and then fold the windows down. Do the same thing on this side. And then split the legs. Just kind of angle them out, hold them down, and then angle the feet. They're on a double hinge, so we get those situated like so. Do the same thing on this side, and just go ahead and fold this down, and then split these. And looks like we'll need to angle up just a little more, and then go ahead and fold these up and out of the way. These are double hinged also. Then come to the arms, fold them out like so. And then fold these out to the side, rotate them, and then this tab is going to plug into his chest. And then I'm just going to go ahead and put the sword back. And when you're done, everything situated, there you have Drift in his robot mode. And I love this robot mode. I'm a huge fan of the IDW designs, even as someone who hasn't read every single IDW comic. And I think it's a real shame that those designs aren't represented more often in figure form. But when they do one of these designs right in plastic form, they really hit it out of the park. And I definitely think that's the case with this figure. I really like the head sculpt. Kind of got a Springer look to it, but I still dig it. And his eyes are light pipes. That was much more common back in these days. So just going to show that off. And I don't know if you can see, but he's actually kind of got pupils. I don't think I've really noticed that before on this figure. So that's kind of cool. That's the thing they did sometimes with the light piping. And again, I just know this because I've seen it talked about in videos, but when you fold the windshield down, the detail on the chest there, that's meant to homage his Cybertronian form. So that's kind of neat, just how the chest looks underneath. He's got Autobot symbols on both of his shoulders. And then one of my favorite things about this figure is that the doors become sheaths for his wacky zashies. Yes, I studied samurai a while ago, and wacky zashi was the word for the smaller sword. So just going to show off my samurai knowledge a little bit where I can. I do like how the sword soars on the back, and I really like how the front of the car forms these, I don't know what you call these, but just things that stick off the back of the shoulders. I just think that's a really cool look. It reminds me of animated Blur. I just thought that was a really cool design aesthetic, and I think it's really cool here. So yeah, in general, the detailing and paintwork on this figure is really nice. In terms of his posability, the head, it's not on a ball joint. I'm kind of blanking on what you call this type of joint, but he can look up a good bit and down a decent bit. Doesn't get any side to side, unfortunately. He can turn right and left. It is a little... That really scared me. It is a little limited, the rotation on the head, but it is there. Then the shoulders are on ball joints, so they can do full 360. The movement's going to be a little clunky just due to the design, but you do have that option. And they can pivot, which is nice. And because of the transformation, they can go up and down some. You have a bicep rotation. And a double jointed elbow, which again can be a little limited because you have these giant wheels on his forearms. Then the wrists are on ball joints, so you get rotation. And due to the transformation, they have inward movement. He doesn't have anything at the waist, unfortunately. I do think they probably could have fit one in there without obstructing the transformation too much. So that's a little bit of a bummer, but whatever, I guess. Legs can go forward that far and back that far. They are on ball joints. The universal joints we have now just weren't as common then. Go out to the side that far. You have a thigh rotation. You have a knee bend, which is pretty much exactly a 90. Then not really too much you can do with the feet. I guess they can go up and down, but no pivot because, again, that was not as common as it is now. So I do think the transformation is cool. There's a lot of cool ideas with it. It's just due to the design, some of it you can't do as much with it as you'd like to. One of my favorite things about this figure is that because of how the articulation works, he can actually reach into his sheaths and pull the wacky zashies out. So that's just a really, really neat feature that I just absolutely love about this figure. I wish more action figures could do stuff like that. And same thing with the katana. He can reach behind him and grab it and then pull it out. But that's what broke it when I was filming this figure last, so I'm not going to show that off. But again, that is something you can do. So I'm just going to go ahead and put that in his hand. And now we have Drift fully armed and ready for battle. So yeah, I really like that feature that he can actually pull his weapons out. So I'd say that pretty much covers the basics of this figure. I do some comparisons for robot mode, but the comparisons I want to do are going to be shown off on the display when I give my final thoughts. So let's just go and get into that right now. So there we have Drift with my More Than Meets the Eye / Lost Light collection. I really like how this shelf is coming along. It's coming along a little slowly because, once again, IDW figures are pretty few and far between. I really want to get an IDW Rodimus for this shelf because I absolutely love that design. It's arguably my favorite Transformers design ever in existence, but unfortunately, the only figures of him that transform are really expensive, so that probably won't be happening for a little bit that I get one. But fingers crossed, someday soon I'll be able to get him. But anyway, back to Drift. I really like this figure. I think his car mode is really nice. It's got a cool look to it. Transformation is really fun and unique. Robot mode is really awesome. Again, I love how the doors form the sword sheaths. His articulation, it does show its age a little bit compared to what we're getting nowadays and can be a little annoying to use, but I really like how he can pull the Wakizashis and Katana out of their sheaths. That's just a really neat touch, and you don't see that very often, so I really like that part of him. So overall, I definitely do recommend getting this figure. Unfortunately, he's pretty rare nowadays. If you want to get a complete one, it's going to set you back generally $100. I don't see this guy very inexpensive. If you're willing to get an incomplete one and do what I did and just 3D print his weapons, then you can probably get one a little cheaper. So if you have a means to 3D print or have a friend who can 3D print the parts for you, that's probably what I'd recommend, just getting an incomplete one and completing them yourself if you're willing to do that. But regardless, I definitely do recommend getting this figure. He's a lot of fun, and I think you'll enjoy him. But of course, that's just what I think of this figure. As always, please let me know what you think of him down in the comments. And if you like this video, please be sure to like, share, subscribe, and God bless.